over from Melbourne to be with you all and thank you in person. When I heard that this was going to happen, I was so elated. What an act of defiance. What an act of saying, no, you will not silence us. And I had to be here in person, whatever happened, to be with you. I was in Melbourne at the rally there, and that was bad enough with the boys in their black suits turning up, and what happened afterwards with the politicians calling us all sorts of names, to what you had to endure in Albert Park that day, and it was disgusting. But it went all around the world, and this will go all around the world too. Because you have stood up and you have said defiantly no, and that is what we need to be doing. I would actually like to also speak on behalf of lesbians, because in Melbourne, some of you may not know this, but lesbians have been dealing with this crap for decades. Decades. 20 plus years ago in Melbourne, we wanted to organise a live-in camp for lesbians, and we meant females who were lesbian, not some straight man who identified as a woman and then said he was a lesbian because he still is attracted to straight women. Like, it does your head in. Anyway, 20 years ago they took us to the Equal Opportunity Tribunal for daring to say we wanted an event for female-born lesbians. They won. We had to go underground for 20 years. Now, with the Posey Parker stuff and all the stuff that's happening, we are finally finding our bravery to come out again. So in Melbourne, there are a group of us who were part of 20 years ago, the application before the Equal Opportunities Tribunal, and now we've come out again and we have put in for an exemption. I don't even believe that we have to do this, but we do. We have to put in exemption to the Australian Human Rights Commission to be able to publicly have an event for lesbians who are born female.
Insane, isn't it?
So that is going before the tribunal right now. We know that we probably won't win this exemption. We are doing it for the publicity, for the awareness raising, to get people to realise that the alphabet soup rainbow mob do not speak for us. In fact, they exclude us. Just to stir the pot a bit, we decided not only to go for the exemption, and when I say we 2 months ago, we set up a group called Lesbian Action Group. So we're 2 months old. We decided that we would go for this exemption to run a female lesbian event on International Lesbian Day, which is October the 8th. So we're celebrating International Lesbian Day at the Pride Centre, which in Melbourne is the Alphabet Soup Centre. They immediately turned down our booking. They would not let us have a lesbian event. And that played into our hands, not actually believing that we will be allowed to have a lesbian-only event in this day and age. But we were stirring the pot, and they bit. They jumped right in. So now we have a campaign against the Pride Centre who say they can't let us in because they're all for inclusion and diversity. So we have
I'm just going to interrupt her to say that particular lesbian centre, Pride Centre, which is in Victoria, I believe, they've actually allowed I'm going to use their words, trans woman only event. There's some sort of trans event where you can only go if you're trans, but they won't allow an event where you can only go if you're lesbian.
From all over the place. It was wonderful. The other thing that we want to do is LAG, or Lesbian Action Group, seems to have taken on an identity of its own. Nobody knows who's behind this mysterious LAG, but everybody in Australia is talking about LAG. and it's really just a bunch of daggy dykes who, and there's about 6 of us who are really active, and then another 6 who are in the background with support. And because it's taken on a life of its own, that is actually inspiring lesbians all over Australia to be able to stand up. And so our next plan is to actually have cells of lags all over Australia. If you want to have them in New Zealand, go for it. So groups that are for lesbians, blonde, female, and who want to do action, not just endless discussion. That's what we've been doing for 20 years, of going underground. Discussion, discussion, discussion. We were sick of it. We want action. Thank you all.
So great of the Australian women to go over to support